This is the New Patreon presentation number 67 in the series I call Unraveling Yeshua's Hard Sayings. We're going to look at the saying that is undoubtedly authentic, which is translated into English as, "Fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell." So first of all, we have to ask, where does this saying occur? Fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell. We find that in Matthew and in Luke, and they're both must have been in the very early source Q that they relied upon. If we put the Aramaic terms that underlie these into English, it'll say, "Be in awe." That means not to fear, not to quake before him, but be in awe of the one who is able to destroy both the nephesh and the basar in Gehenna. And the nephesh, of course, is the astral body, or the body that one lives in after death until that dissolves. And the basar is the flesh, which dissolves after death. Now, Gehenna was the city garbage dump outside the south wall of Jerusalem and stretching to the Kidron Valley. We have a good picture of this on the right hand. The Hebrew word Gehinnom means valley of Hinnom. The whole valley was filled with smoldering fires from spontaneous combustion of garbage. It smoked and reeked of foul odors. It was a place of refuge and return to elemental nature. Gehinnom became, allegorically, the Hebrew Aramaic term for the olam, or the consciousness or conscious state of existence of a soul's purgation after death, Gehenna. Now, the duration of term in Gehenna depended upon one's level of impurity or sin. Gehenna was comparable to the Egyptian, Pythagorean, and Vedic concepts of soul trial after death. Yeshua's statements are the source for the Catholic doctrines of purgatory and hell. Now, what does olam and what do the olami mean in the Gehenna teachings of Yeshua, which are interpreted by so many people as hell? Well, as opposed to philosophers who said that in death all existence ended and there would be no consequences for moral sins after death, that would be the Epicureans and other Greek philosophers, Yeshua warned that one's good and evil deeds follow him after death and determine the conditions of that olam for him, of that state of consciousness. He emphasized the importance of sanctification by using his familiar method of hyperbole. For example, when he said, "You must hate your father and your mother," and so on. And he used the analogy of radical surgery to remove a diseased organ. Now, Yeshua's Gehenna represented an olam, or state of existence. It was a consequence of sin, that is, self-chosen bondage to evil. Gehenna existed as an olam, or state of existence, or state of consciousness, both during life, from which one could be freed, and after death, which could be shortened or circumvented. So how long does this olam last after death? Yeshua said in Matthew 25, Sermon on the Mount, "You will not get out," and he's talking about being accused and being taken to prison, which is an allegory for self-imposed separation from God and the consequences of sin, or hob. "You will not get out of prison until you have paid the last penny." Now, the Pharisaic sages of this time said that after death, purification in Gehenna could last anywhere from a day to a year. Now, people create their personal after-death purgatories and remain in them until they have exhausted all the internal inclinations that led them there, but not forever. Not forever. Christian purgatory and hell were developed from the saying of Yeshua. Early Christianity equated Gehenna with the Orphic concept of underworld punishment in Hades, which became medieval Anglo-Saxon hell. But Gehenna was never designed or taught or envisioned to be a place of punishment. It was a place of purging, or purgatory, or purification, and it would not last forever. The Catholic theology divided Gehenna into the concept of purgatory as a temporary purification for heaven, and for hell's too evil for purgatory. Here's the baby Jesus and the Mother Mary helping souls up from their state in purgatory in this three-tiered universe. But others don't ever get away because they are consigned to eternal torment in hell, Hades. So Yeshua's temporary Gehenna devolved into the Christian Protestant eternal damnation and other forever and other doctrines of both Protestant and Catholic. So Gehenna was not the Christian hell. It was not the Orphic Hades, which was a place of eternal punishment. Yeshua taught the Pharisaic doctrine that after death, all souls undergo a purgatorial state, which we call Gehenna. But according to first-century rabbinic sources contemporary with Yeshua, it lasted for a maximum of 12 months for even the most evil lives, but only a few hours or days for most souls, depending upon the defilement of the soul. It was a purification from self-generated moral, spiritual defilements, not a punishment for sins. He taught his disciples practices of self-examination and compassion to purify their souls in physical life, to bypass the need for after-death purification in Gehenna, which was considered to be in the west or the south of Eden, of the third heaven. And if your one hand causes you a mikshoi, a stumbling block, a mikshol, a sin, cut off your hand, for it is better for you if you enter chaye olam, that means the life of the heavenly world, as an amputee than having both hands, and you go away into Gehenna, into the Eish to lo tikba, or the fire not ever extinguished. This is referenced in Isaiah 66, where their tolat lo tamut, that means their worm or maggots, does not die. Isaiah 66, and if your foot causes you a mitzvah, cut off your foot, it is better for you to enter chaya olam lame, and so on. You find that in Mark and other places. It's much different than the eternal damnation of Christian theology. And after this, normal souls sleep in the third heaven, or the Pardes, or paradise, awaiting reincarnation, or Gilgul, but the souls of the righteous awaken and abide in the divine Olam of God. The righteous are those no longer in need of Gilgul, of reincarnation. Yeshua also taught another Kabbalistic view of the Pharisaic sages. Those who were righteous in life would awaken after death in the paradise of the third heaven as standing ones, or immortal saints of the Chema, of the re-arising, that is, the resurrection. The resurrection was for all Tzaddikim, or Jewish saints. For when they rise from the dead, it says in Mark 12:25, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, that is, they are neither men nor women or male or female, but are like unto the angels in heaven, who are not either male or female, but maybe could be said to be both. Angels and all divine beings are considered to be perfect, or tam, and complete, whole, shalem, thus are portrayed allegorically as hermaphroditic, or male, female, including the Abba, God himself. Here's a hymn about the Chema of the righteous from the first century Pharisaic apocalypse of Baruch, contemporary with Yeshua. It may have been one of the hymns sung by Yeshua and the disciples during his Shabbat Seder, which was a mystic participation in the marriage banquet of Messiah. Note the Kabbalistic terminology and the parallel to Yeshua's statements about like unto the angels. It says, but those who have been saved by their works, not their faith, but their works, and to whom the Torah has been now a hope and understanding, or bina, and expectation, and wisdom, chachma, a confidence. It's interesting to note that bina and chachma are the two columns of the Sephiric tree. Shall wonders appear in their time, for they shall behold the world which is now invisible to them, and they shall behold the time which is now hidden from them, and time shall no longer age them. The time meaning the age of the olam. For in the heights of that olam they shall dwell, and they shall be made like unto the angels, and be made equal to the stars, and they shall be changed into every form they desire, from beauty into loveliness, and from light or unto the splendor of glory. And that's found in First Baruch. I'm quoting R. Child's translation, which you can find online at this particular URL. So in summary, death and Gilgal, or reincarnation, can be characterized like this in the first century Jewish thought that was informing Yeshua's teaching. Normal death is merely sleep in the shalom or peace of the parties. But the Tzaddikim, the Jewish saints, that is the disciples who have made themselves perfect, or Tom, these saints reawaken in Pardes and in Chema, in the resurrection, quote, like unto the angels. They have no need for Gilgal or reincarnation, and eventually evolve and ascend to the eighth or ninth heavens, where they telepathically guide advanced human souls, as we find in the tractate on the Ogdoad in the Hermetic literature. The most spiritually evolved beings, like Enoch, stand as divine beings, like Metatron, like the archangels. Concerning reincarnation, Yeshua said John was a reincarnation of Elijah. That's quoted. Messianic Jews and many early Christian churches taught reincarnation. Here's a book that we find by Rabbi Chaim Vital called The Jewish Concept of Reincarnation and Creation. There are many, many, many other books on the same topic. So it was a Kabbalistic teaching that all except the Tzaddikim, righteous ones, confer that Pauline idea of justification or dikaiosune, all except the righteous ones enter into Gehenna for final purification after death, then into the Chema, of the standing ones, of the resurrection. The Catholic doctrine became after death human souls are either cast into hell for eternal damnation or enter purgatory to prepare for paradise. Christian eternal hell developed from the Orphic Hades, which was an eternal hell. Catholic purgatory developed from a Jewish Gehenna. It was a medieval moneymaker. The Pope shortened the days in purgatory for special services to the church, i.e. big donations of money that were called indulgences that Martin Luther and others reformers objected to. So please click on the Patreon link in my description just below the video to become a patron, helping to sponsor my new videos on the pre-Christian teachings of Yeshua. Thank you very much.